Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Judith Patterson. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Texas, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make the cards from my class, Sunny Splash Class to Go. If you're not able to get this stamp set, because I know that we're at the end of a catalog and fixing to transition into a new one, so this is one of those stamp sets that's going to be retiring and may already be sold out. So if it is, then some other stamp sets that I think would be good for this class are Count on Me, super cute, Easter Bunny, definitely on my wish list, and Friendly Gnomes, which are, let's see, Count on Me and Friendly Gnomes are also retiring, but I thought, you know, maybe you already have them in your stash, or maybe you're going to put in a last minute order soon. And speaking of ordering, that's how you get this class. So whenever you use my host code, popped up on the screen right there, you will be able to, when your order reaches $35 pre-tax and before shipping, then you'll get these pieces to make this class at home. And I don't include ink, I don't include the stamp sets, obviously. It's just the cardstock and the envelopes, designer series paper. It's those things that you'll be getting already pre-cut, ready to assemble. And I'll be showing you exactly what you're going to be getting here in just a minute. And if your order reaches $50 before tax and shipping, then you'll also get, I meant to have a package up here with me. You'll get the 2021 to 2023 in color opal rounds. So the colors in that are Fresh Freesia, Polished Pink, Simply Succulent, Evening Evergreen, and Pale Papaya. So it's a great thing to get. And if I do run out of those, then I'll substitute something just as wonderful in your package for your bit of bling. So I think that is all that you need to know right now, but let me flip my camera around and I'm going to start showing you these cards and start showing you what you'll get in your class to go. Okay, so here's the stamp sets I'm using. I'm using Sunny Splash for probably 95% of these cards. I am adding one stamp. It's this one here, the Happy Birthday stamp from Peaceful Moments. And of course, you can use a different birthday stamp, or you can leave it out altogether if that's what you want, or change it with something else. So again, here's the Sunny Splash stamps. Okay, so I'm going to be starting with this Hello Sunshine card. This one uses a little bit of blending, a little bit of splattering. Now, a lot of people like to use their Stampin' Write markers to do the splattering technique. I don't want to mess up my markers, so I am going to be using water painters. And to get this blended part back here, I'm going to be using a blending brush. So whenever you get your kit in the mail, you will get envelopes that have your card pieces in here. So for every card, you'll get 2 envelopes with enough pieces to do 2 cards. So here's the card base for this one. It's Coastal Cabana. We'll use this in a minute. Let's start with this 4 by 5 1/4 piece of basic white. And I have a small blending brush. It's just the color that I picked for this. Or not the color, the size. So it doesn't matter. You can use the big one or the little one. Totally up to you. So I just get some of this Coastal Cabana on my blending brush. And of course, if you don't have blending brushes, you can add that to your order. Or you can just leave this part off, or maybe use a sponge dauber. There's almost always another option when you're stamping. It's one of the things that I love about it so much is it's so versatile and really rather forgiving. So I always like to start off the edge and go off the edge whenever I'm blending. So my ink is a little darker on the edges and lighter in the center. So now I'm going to squeeze my ink pad, and with the newer ink pads I usually use the heels of my hand, just a little firmer, and I'm going to use this as my paint palette. Okay, so I have my smallest tip water painter ready to go. I'm going to squeeze some water out of it into my lid here and just pick that up. I want to make sure that there's nothing in the line of fire here, so let me move all that over. It's important, I think, that you have something on your desk. I love using Stampin' Up's grid paper to protect my surface, but just as long as you have something there. So I just keep picking up some more ink, and then I just tap it with my finger. You can do as many splatters as you want, as few splatters as you want. I like a lot. I get to be nice and covered. Okay, I think we're good there. And then to clean your water painter, all you need to do is just, here I have this is like a scrap of a microfiber towel. So I'm just going to squeeze my water out, and you can do this on a paper towel or just in the sink. And so I'm just squeezing and brushing until it's running clear. Then I'll brush it just a little bit more just to be certain it's completely cleaned out. Poke the lid back on it, and I'm all done with that. Okay, so now I have this long strip in here, and I'm going to make this a little wider when I send these out. This is just 1.25 inches because it's wide enough for the swimsuit, but I thought just in case you're using something other than the swimsuit, I'm going to make these strips 2 inches wide instead. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to grab this polka dot swimsuit. Just stamp it right here. And there's enough room here that if you get it too close to the edge, or your stamp isn't stamped as clearly as you want it, whatever, you have plenty of room for another stamp, or you can turn it over and stamp on the back. So now I'm just going to take my paper snips and trim around this very quickly. It's always a good idea when you're trimming to move the paper as much as possible rather than your scissors. You'll get a cleaner cut that way, and it's easier to guide, I think, when you're guiding the paper rather than the scissors. Okay, there you are. And then for the sentiment, I have a little piece of Daffodil Delight here. And I'm going to use my heat embossing tools. Again, you don't have to do this. The other option is you could stamp Coastal Cabana or Whisper White ink on your Daffodil Delight cardstock. Either one of those will work just fine, and in fact I will show you those options whenever I finish this. So first I'm going to take my Hello Sunshine, just ink it up really well, and then stamp this right here on this piece of cardstock. So then I have my white embossing powder. Be careful not to touch where I have stamped in Versamark. I like to wiggle it all the different directions just to make sure it's sticking good everywhere. And then since I used my embossing buddy, I don't have, let's see if you can see that, I don't have a lot of, there you go, I don't have a lot of powder just sprinkled everywhere. It's stuck where it needed to stick. I'm going to put that away and use my heat tool to heat this up. Okay, so I really recommend using reversible tweezers. I left mine across the room, so I thought I'd just wing it with my own fingers, but let me tell you, it was getting a little toasty. So your other options are Coastal Cabana or Whisper White. Let's do Coastal Cabana first. Just getting some of that Versamark off of there. So there's the Coastal Cabana. Do recommend cleaning your stamp between each color change and also making sure it's dry. I didn't do that whenever I stamped my Coastal Cabana. So I always like to really ink up this Whisper White. Then I'll place it on my cardstock. Give it a little smush. You don't want to wiggle it or push too hard on any of the sides. You want to keep it really level. And I like to let the white sit there for just a minute, kind of soak in a bit. And there you go. So I might need to re-ink my white, but you can tell you still have your white sentiment there against the yellow. So it's not as bright as the embossing powder, but we know it wouldn't be. Okay, so there are your options. I'm going to go ahead and put the embossed one. It's just my favorite. Embossing is one of my favorite techniques and probably always will be. So one of the first things that I learned how to do when I learned how to stamp. Okay, so I like to use liquid glue. So I'm going to just start by putting this first piece on my card base with some liquid glue. So you want to always, before you stick anything down, make sure your card is opening up the correct direction. Can't tell you how many times I have put something on upside down or backwards. Okay. I like to use 3 Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of each swimsuit. And then, so you can leave this size. You can use your paper snips and trim around it. You could even fussy cut around it if you wanted to. I'm going to leave this one a little big. I think that works. So and again, I'm going with the 3 dimensionals on the back. And then this is going down here in the bottom corner. So I did, if you read my blog post today, then you know whenever I made my first one of these, I used an ink refill, the Coastal Cabana ink refill, and I put just dots of, just 1 drop of Coastal Cabana on 3 rhinestones. This time I'm trying to decide what I like best. So I still have my light Bermuda Bay blend. So I went ahead and used the brush tip to color these. It usually dries faster whenever you do it this way. So if you're going to be using the ink refill to color your rhinestones, I would definitely say do that the night before. Let it set overnight. And then wipe off the extra with a paper towel or something so it doesn't get all over everything, because it will definitely be more than you need. I really like the way the blends color the rhinestones. My only issue with it is that it can mess up the tip of your blends. So you want to be really careful. Or maybe you have a blend that you have just designated for that. Okay, so I have this extra piece that I want to put inside my card. And for this one, you could put happy birthday inside and do a little bit of blending just right where you're going to be doing your happy birthday. I think that what I'm going to do is just blend a little bit of this color just around all the edges. I'm not going to add a sentiment to the inside. If I decide to later, then I can absolutely do that. I think I need to pick up some more ink. Like adding just a touch of color around the edges. You can write over it. It doesn't take up any space on the inside of your card, so you still have plenty of room for your message. But it's just not just the stark white. So I just like that little bit of difference there. And then for the flap of your card or the front, you could do the same thing, or I like to go ahead and grab that stamp again and that Daffodil Delight. And the swimsuit fits great right here on the back of this flap. Perfect. So now your envelope matches your card and you're ready to go. For this next card, I used Beautiful Shapes dies, and I used the Balmy Blue textured shimmer paper. Now the textured shimmer paper comes with shaded spruce, balmy blue, and white, but I just thought the balmy blue was perfect for this swimsuit card. And it's going to work great, too, for some of those other stamp sets that I recommended if you don't have Sunny Splash stamps. So inside your envelope for this card, and again, you have 2 envelopes for each card. You're going to get your strip, which I will. Again, you have one of these in every envelope. So I'll make all of them 2 inches. You have your shape. You have your piece with the shape cut out, and then you have your inside piece. So I'm going to start by stamping my sentiment with Melon Mambo. You want to be careful with these. There's this extra bit here that you can get a halo with sometimes, so you just want to be careful that you don't do that. Now I'm going to stamp this 2-piece swimsuit with Melon Mambo. Okay, there it is, all fussy cut out. I do think I'm going to trim this up just a smidge. Okay, and now it's time to assemble. So again, I'm going to go with some liquid glue. Okay, and then I'm going to do liquid glue on the back of this shimmery piece also. So you just want to center that up. Hold it down for just a second to make sure it adheres all the way across. And then use those wonderful Stampin' dimensionals again on the back of the swimsuit and pop it up in the center right here. Okay, for the inside of this one, I'm going to again stamp with a Melon Mambo. The swimsuit right here in the bottom right corner. And I don't know about you, but this stamp set really makes me want to go to the beach or a tropical island or even a swimming pool. Okay, and then let's do another swimsuit on the flap. There we go. Okay, so there is our second card. Put that up there with that one. Okay, so our third and final card is this one here. It's a Fresh Freesia base. I tell you what, I was really excited to see that Fresh Freesia is going to be one of our new colors. It's sticking around. It didn't retire with the rest of its in color family, so that was fun. Okay, so we've got our card base. And the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of this basic white cardstock, and I'm going to put it on the center of the front of this card base. Okay, so then I have this piece of Designer Series paper that just barely covers that, so I want to make sure I've got it on here as good as I can. I'm going to bring this over, and I want to make sure that it's going to leave enough space here for my sentiment. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and stamp this sentiment up here in the corner. So I think, say right about there. Remember, this happy birthday is from Peaceful Moments Stamps, which is just all sentiments. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take my liquid glue again, and I'm not going to put it, I've got this little bit of a crease here, so it shows me not to put any glue too close to that crease. And then I'm going to line this back up, stick it on there really well. Then I'm going to take my liquid glue again, and I'm going to just put it here in this corner. And I'm going to fold this down. I'm not going to completely smash it down. I just want to make sure that it's pretty straight going across this way and coming down. I'm just going to hold it in place there. And I have not stamped my swimsuit yet, so I'm going to do that real quick. think I just dipped my pinky in my ink a little bit. That's okay. Okay, and then you guessed it, I'm going to be using 3 Stampin' Dimensionals to attach this to the card base. So I'm going to put it at a jaunty little angle here. Then I'm going to finish this one up. I grabbed those in color opal rounds. So I am finishing this one up by, you can see I love these colors, adding a few of these to the front of the card. So remember, when you place a $50 order, pre-tax and shipping, using my host code, you will get a set of these dots or opal rounds for free, just as a bonus and a thank you from me. Okay, so for the inside of this card, I have just a scrap, just a leftover piece of this designer series paper that we used on the front and my basic white cardstock. So I'm just going to take my liquid glue, and you can put this at the bottom or the top. And you don't even have to decide which one it is whenever you're placing it there. You can always turn it around. Okay, and you can put it right up against the edge, or you can leave just a little border. I think I'm going to leave a little border on mine this time. So then you can decide, okay, do I like it at the bottom, or do I like it at the top? And you know what? I was going to put mine at the bottom, but, ooh, I think I'm going to go with the top. I actually like that better this time. And if it's too long, if that bugs you, you can always take your little snips. There's just a skosh hanging off the edge here. So there we go. Just trim that right off and you're good to go. These snips are so handy for all of these tiny little trimming needs. Okay, so then, of course, we'll take that stamp again with our fresh freesia ink and stamp the envelope. All right, so that you end up with 2 envelopes and 2 cards of every one of these designs. So there you go. So that is your card class to go with Sunny Splash for the week April 2nd through April 8th in 2023. Let me see if I can, there we go, just flipped it back around. If you have any questions about this class or anything else Stampin' Up, then I would love to answer those for you. I hope you like these cards, and happy stamping!